to fight on the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. This piece is from Fox and Friends. This is unbelievable, but true. The Democrat communists in the United States, by the name of Elizabeth Warren to be precise, want to force businesses to pay for climate change. Yes, that's the real and quite frankly, real threat to democracy and the free market economy. If these Democrat communists get their way, everyone will be paying more for less, which after all is the communist way, isn't it? Here's the clip, links on my site. And remember, we do have a communist leader in Canada, and he's already destroying our economy. Look what Obama did in 8 years, and look what Trudeau's done in 3.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is leading a push by Democrats to force public companies to make climate risk disclosures. But our next guest says that's probably bad for business. Mark Morano is the executive editor of ClimateDepot.com and the author of The Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change. He joins us live here in our New York studio. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Thanks.
So what is Elizabeth Warren asking for?
What she's asking for, first of all, this is virtue signaling of the highest order for her Democratic base. They're asking for the SEC to mandate that companies require their climate change their climate change risks, either in the assets they hold, in the business they conduct, how climate change may impact their business.
What's a climate change risk?
Climate change risk is if you're a company that deals in fossil fuels or energy development,
okay,
what are you causing the climate? In other words, we've already had Democrat attorney generals, New York, Massachusetts, go after companies for causing bad weather in an attempt to shake them down. Elizabeth Warren's bill is giving them, the SEC and the government, all the means by which to monitor every activity and link it somehow to climate change. A bad weather event happens.
Right.
What was that company doing there? They caused those emissions which caused this bad weather event.
Well, here's my question. While she's putting that out there, and I'm sure she's got a demographic that says, yeah, right, we're for that, it's not going to pass.
It's not going to pass right now. Again, this is for 2020. Al Gore has firmly endorsed this, this bill. But this is the idea of, they believe that they say many bad things will happen. Whenever a bad thing happens, Hurricane Florence, a tornado, a drought, they say, we predicted it. And this storm or this event is because of our emissions, and therefore ExxonMobil is this percent responsible, an oil company.
Right.
And so they're going to use these disclosures now, and they're going to have the size of the phone book in the end, and go after them and try to sue them for money for causing bad weather.
Meanwhile, for bad weather, last week, the president was being slammed. There was an op-ed, I think, from the Washington Post that said he was complicit in the fact that Hurricane Florence was such a monster, given the fact that he'd pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord.
I mean, we have CNN, the Washington Post now, literally practicing medieval witchcraft. In the Middle Ages, they used to say, that witch caused this bad weather. She caused the crop failure. We would have had those witches not been there. And they had trials on this. And now they're blaming the president of the United States. Donald Trump does not get credit for our economic growth, but the media is perfectly willing to blame him for a hurricane. How does that work? It makes no sense whatsoever.
So you're telling me he can't control the weather?
No, this is again, Al Gore believes that we need legislation to control the weather. This is a sad day for science. My book details the absurdity of all this. Pay up or face bad weather. The government has to protect us from bad weather. Thanks, Steve.
You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, and email. You can now find us on Spotify. Just go to the podcast section and type Canadian Politics with a Twist, and you'll find us. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all my morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio, that's EHRADIO, A Radio, and please click on the like button. And you can find all my podcasts and morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com and click on the Morning Moments tab.